So often we find ourselves measuring our worth by external factors, by the approval of others, or by the company we keep. We've been conditioned to think that the number of friends we have, the circle we belong to, or how people view us defines who we are. But I want to remind you today that your worth is not and never will be tied to the amount of friends you have or the validation you receive from the world around you. Your worth is inherent, unshakable, and rooted in something far deeper than the fleeting relationships we encounter throughout life. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others. We see those women with their seemingly perfect friendships, tight-knit circles, inside jokes, constant support, and we wonder why we don't have that. We may even feel inadequate, questioning if there's something wrong with us because we haven't found that connection. But hear me clearly, just because you don't have a tribe of people surrounding you doesn't mean you are any less than someone who does. Your worth is not measured by a number of friends, but by your character, your heart, and your unique place in this world. The truth is, when you're walking a path alone, you're given the opportunity to discover who you truly are, apart from the noise and influence of others. It's in this space that you begin to peel back the layers of who you've been conditioned to be and start uncovering the woman you were always meant to become. Sometimes we need these seasons of solitude to align ourselves with our purpose, to refine our vision, and to draw closer to the inner strength that has always resided within us. Your worth is built in these moments when you are stripped down to your essence and you realize that you are enough just as you are. The world will try to convince you that you need others to define you, that your value is found in relationships or being liked by others. But when you internalize the truth of your worth, it no longer becomes about what others think or whether they choose to be in your life. It becomes about how you show up for yourself, how you love yourself, and how you respect yourself. You are worthy, not because of who stands beside you, but because of who you are at your core. I know it can feel discouraging at times. You may wonder why in this season of your life it feels like connections aren't coming the way you hope. But I promise you this season is not wasted. There is something beautiful happening in the stillness, something that will empower you and elevate you to the next level of your purpose. In fact, I would argue that this season is essential for your growth. When you learn to stand on your own 2 feet, when you learn to find peace and joy in your own company, you position yourself to attract the right relationships, ones that are built on a foundation of mutual respect, trust, and shared values. Your worth is rooted in who you are, not in the quantity or the temporary nature of human connection. The world may look at you and ask, where are your friends? Or why don't you have that close-knit group? But you stand firm in the knowledge that you are complete even without all of that. You are enough as you are, whether you're walking this journey with 100 friends or standing tall in your own solitude. What's important to understand is that when you begin to embrace your worth, you free yourself from the need for validation. The moment you stop seeking outside approval and start seeking alignment with your inner truth, you tap into a power that is untouchable. You are enough. You are worthy of love, of happiness, of success, and of all the blessings that are coming your way. Whether or not they come from the friendships you think you need or from the people you hope will come into your life, the truth remains that you are whole in and of yourself. And when you begin to operate from a place of knowing your worth, you'll start to realize something extraordinary. The right people will come into your life, not because you sought them out, but because you've created space for them. You've created an energy that aligns with the kind of connections that will nourish your soul, uplift your spirit, and support you on your journey. But even before they arrive, you stand strong in the truth that you are enough on your own. You are worthy of all that is coming, and you don't need anyone to validate that truth. There is a unique power that lies in solitude, though many of us fear it or try to avoid it at all costs. We've been taught to believe that solitude is a sign of weakness, loneliness, or failure. But the truth is, when we are alone, we are given the rare and invaluable opportunity to connect with ourselves in ways that would otherwise be impossible. This is not a time of lacking, but a time of growing. It's in these moments when we feel isolated or alone that we can discover who we truly are, separate from the expectations of others or the roles we play in our relationships. When you find yourself in a season of solitude, it's important to shift your perspective. It's not about what you're missing, but what you're gaining. This is the time when you can take inventory of your life, when you can reflect on the path you've walked and the path you still have to walk. Solitude allows you to tune into your own voice, to hear your own heart, to feel the calling of your purpose more clearly than ever before. It's a space where distractions fall away, and you can finally hear the whispers of your soul, urging you to step into your full potential. We often hear people say that growth happens in the midst of community, but I challenge that notion. While community is certainly powerful and necessary in many ways, there is something transformative about the growth that happens when you are alone with yourself. You have the chance to dig deep, to ask the hard questions, and to truly face the areas in your life that need healing or attention. It is in this space of solitude that you can begin to shed old beliefs, habits, and fears that no longer serve you, and make room for new beliefs, new strengths, and new possibilities. This is the fertile ground where transformation happens. Solitude doesn't mean you are invisible or insignificant. In fact, it often means the opposite. It is in solitude that we find our truest selves, the self that exists without the influence of the crowd, the self that is fully aligned with the desires of our heart. When you are alone, there is no pressure to conform to anyone else's expectations, no need to shrink or alter who you are to fit into someone else's idea of what you should be. This is your time to reclaim your power and your sense of self. It's when you're alone that you learn to be unapologetically yourself, to trust your instincts, to walk in your own truth. This period of growth can be uncomfortable at first. You may find yourself wrestling with emotions, fears, and uncertainties that you've buried for far too long. But understand this discomfort is a sign of progress, not failure. It's a sign that you're digging deeper into the soil of your soul, preparing for new growth. Just like a seed has to break open in the darkness of the earth before it can push through to the light, you too must experience discomfort in order to stretch beyond what you thought was possible. In solitude, you are given the space to reframe your narrative, to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about who you are. This is a time to break free from limiting beliefs that have held you back for far too long, to release the self-doubt and fear that have kept you stuck. You can start to visualize the woman you are becoming and take intentional steps toward that vision. Growth in solitude is not about passively waiting for change to happen. It's about actively engaging in the process of becoming, of choosing to evolve, even when no one is watching. This is where real strength is built, when you push through your own limitations, when you choose to rise even when it feels like no one is there to cheer you on. When you find yourself in a season of solitude, don't rush to fill the silence. Don't rush to distract yourself with the noise of the world or the validation of others. Instead, lean into the stillness, sit with your thoughts, sit with your emotions. This is your chance to truly understand yourself on a deeper level. What are your dreams? What are your fears? What is the deepest desire of your heart? It's only in the quiet, when the external noise fades away, that you can begin to hear these answers clearly. The growth that takes place in solitude is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's the subtle shifts, the small revelations that have the greatest impact. As you embrace solitude and the growth that comes with it, remember that this is not a season of abandonment. This is a season of preparation. This is the space where you are being prepared for something bigger, something greater. Just like a seed must grow in the darkness before it can bloom in the light, you too are being cultivated in ways that will make you stronger, wiser, and more ready for the next chapter of your life. The solitude you experience now is not a setback. It is a setup for the future you are meant to step into. When you embrace the growth that comes from solitude, you will find that you are not only stronger, but more connected to your purpose and more aligned with your own truth. It is in these quiet, sometimes lonely moments that you will discover a power and resilience within yourself that you never knew existed. There are moments in life when we feel as though we are walking a path completely alone. We may find ourselves in situations where we feel disconnected from the people around us, or perhaps we're going through personal battles that no one seems to understand. It's in these moments of isolation that we need to remember one of the most important truths: we are never truly alone. Even when it feels like we are, there is a presence that surrounds us, guiding us, loving us, and holding us up in ways we may not always recognize. That presence is the unwavering love of God, a love that is constant, unconditional, and always available, no matter what circumstances we face. There are times when we long for human connection, for friends who can offer comfort, understanding, and support. It's natural to crave companionship, and there's nothing wrong with desiring meaningful relationships in our lives. However, we must also remember that while human connection is beautiful and necessary, it is not the foundation of our worth or our strength. God's presence is what sustains us, especially in those moments when we feel like there's no one else to turn to. His love is the bedrock that holds us steady when the storms of life seem overwhelming. Even in our moments of deepest loneliness, He is with us, offering peace that surpasses understanding, hope when the world feels bleak, and strength when we feel like we have nothing left to give. When you are in a season where it feels like everyone else has a community, a group of friends who are there for them in every moment, it's easy to feel like you're missing something. You might even wonder why you're not able to experience that same level of connection. But I want you to know something. Your worth does not depend on the relationships you have with others. It is defined by your relationship with God and His love for you. This love is never contingent upon how many friends you have or how popular you are. His love is unconditional and it is available to you at all times. When you understand and accept that truth, you will begin to realize that you are never truly alone, even in your loneliest moments. There is a comfort that comes in knowing that no matter what you face, no matter how abandoned or misunderstood you may feel, God is always there, right by your side. His presence is constant, a steady companion, even in your moments of solitude. He knows your struggles, your heartaches, your fears, and He is with you in every one of them. His love does not fade or falter based on your circumstances. When you feel abandoned by the world, you can rest in the assurance that you are never forgotten by Him. He sees you, He knows you, and He is walking this journey with you. The truth is that loneliness is not a reflection of being unloved or unworthy. It is simply a momentary feeling that comes from the natural desire for human connection. However, when we understand that God's love fills every void, it shifts our perspective. I relate to it. We begin to realize that His presence in our lives is more than enough to sustain us through the toughest seasons. He doesn't leave us when we feel alone. Instead, He draws near to us, comforting us, whispering His promises into our hearts, reminding us that we are His beloved and that He is always with us. In these times of isolation, we are given the opportunity to draw closer to Him. We are invited to deepen our relationship with God, to lean into His love, and to trust that He is guiding us through our journey. While it may be tempting to seek out the validation or approval of others, we can rest assured that we already have everything we need in Him. His love is enough. His strength is enough. His presence is enough. As we embrace God's constant presence in our lives, we also begin to see that the loneliness we feel is not a permanent state. It is a season, a chapter that will pass. The feelings of isolation are not a reflection of our worth, but rather a space where God is refining us, teaching us to rely on Him more fully. Sometimes the absence of earthly connections allows us to strengthen our relationship with the divine, to learn that we don't need to depend on others to feel love, because God's love is more than sufficient to fill every void. When we embrace the reality that we are never truly alone, something powerful shifts within us. We no longer seek validation from the world because we know that we are loved beyond measure by the Creator of the universe. We are able to stand strong in the knowledge that we are deeply valued, not because of what we have to offer others, but because we are His. And in this truth, we find peace, we find strength, we find comfort in knowing that even in our deepest moments of solitude, we are surrounded by His love, and that love will never leave us, no matter where life takes us. It is in these moments of feeling alone that we are reminded of a deeper, unshakable truth. God's presence is our constant companion, and His love is always enough to carry us through. When you are tempted to feel forgotten or abandoned, remember that He is with you always. You are never without because you are always held in His embrace. We often hear the phrase, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality, and yet when it comes to relationships, we tend to fall into the trap of thinking that the more friends we have, the better. We see others with large, tight-knit groups and sometimes feel like we're missing something. We start to believe that we must have a certain number of friends or be included in a specific group in order to be truly seen, valued, or loved. But I want to challenge that idea today. True, meaningful relationships aren't about the size of your circle. They are about the depth of connection, the sincerity of the bond, and the authenticity of the love that exists between individuals. The quality of your relationships will always far outweigh the number of people who surround you. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that you need a big group of people to make you feel whole or validated. But when we measure ourselves by the quantity of our friendships, we run the risk of overlooking the quality of those connections. We might find ourselves surrounded by people who don't truly understand us, who don't support us, or who are not aligned with our values. And in those situations, we can feel just as alone and disconnected as if we had no friends at all. What if, instead of seeking out a large group of friends, you focus on finding just a few people who truly see you? People who genuinely support you, understand your heart, and offer love and encouragement without judgment or expectation. What if your circle didn't have to be large, but it had to be deeply authentic? Sometimes we think that in order to belong, we need to be a part of a crowd, but the truth is that real belonging happens when we find people who value us for exactly who we are, not who they want us to be. When we talk about the quality of friendships, it's important to realize that true friends are those who show up for you when it matters most, not just when it's convenient. They are the people who lift you up in your lowest moments, who celebrate you in your victories, and who stay by your side through the ups and downs of life. Quality friendships are built on trust, respect, and mutual care. These relationships have substance, depth, and meaning. They help you grow, and they hold space for you to be your true self. The key to fostering quality relationships is being willing to be vulnerable, to be open, and to show up with authenticity. Sometimes we may avoid forming deep connections because we fear being hurt or misunderstood. But real, lasting friendships are based on the courage to show your true self, imperfections, flaws, and all, and trust that the people who are meant to be in your life will accept and love you despite it all. Vulnerability is a gateway to connection, and when we allow ourselves to be seen in our most authentic form, we create the space for deeper relationships to form. Another important aspect of quality friendships is mutual support. True friends are not just people who enjoy the good times with you, but those who walk with you through challenges, who listen without judgment, and who encourage you to become the best version of yourself. They are people who hold you accountable, who remind you of your worth when you forget, and who push you to grow even when it's uncomfortable. These kinds of friends are rare, but they are invaluable, and they are worth seeking out, even if it means having a smaller circle. When you start valuing quality over quantity, you also start to realize that not all friendships are meant to last forever. Some relationships are seasonal, and that's okay. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay. We sometimes try to force connections, holding on to relationships that no longer serve us simply because we are afraid of being alone. But when we focus on the quality of our relationships, we learn to recognize when it's time to let go. Letting go of friendships that no longer align with who we are or where we are going is a powerful act of self-respect. It allows us to make space for new, healthier connections that are in alignment with our current self and our future growth. We are all wired for connection. As human beings, we thrive in relationships, but it's essential that we cultivate relationships that add value to our lives. A few true friends who are deeply invested in your well-being will always be more fulfilling than a large group of people who don't truly understand you. When you surround yourself with people who see your worth, who respect your boundaries, and who encourage your growth, you create an environment where you can thrive, not just survive. It's important to remember that you don't need to be in a crowd to feel fulfilled. You don't need a vast network of acquaintances to feel validated. True fulfillment comes from knowing that the people who matter most to you see you, love you, and support you in ways that nourish your soul. When you shift your focus to nurturing the quality of your relationships, you'll find that your circle becomes more meaningful, and you begin to build connections that are not only lasting but also transformational. We live in a world that is constantly telling us to rush, to move fast, to get things done, and to always be on the go. The pressure to achieve, to meet certain milestones, or to keep up with the pace of society can be overwhelming, especially when we feel like we're not where we should be. But I want to encourage you to take a step back and trust in the timing of your life. Just because things aren't happening as quickly or in the way you expect doesn't mean that something is wrong or that you are being left behind. Sometimes the waiting period is just as important, if not more so, than the destination itself. The right relationships, the right opportunities, the right season, they all come at the right time. And sometimes that timing might look different than what we envision. We might feel as though we're missing out or falling behind because others seem to be further ahead. But the truth is, you are exactly where you need to be in this moment. You may not be able to see it right now, but the experiences, the challenges, and the lessons you are learning in this season are all part of the bigger picture that is unfolding in your life. Trusting in the timing of your life means acknowledging that not everything is within your control. We often try to force things to make things happen on our own terms because we're afraid of missing out or falling behind. But when we operate from a place of fear or urgency, we risk rushing past opportunities that require patience, growth, and trust in the process. Trusting the timing of your life requires a shift in mindset, a shift from trying to control every aspect of your journey to surrendering to the flow of life and trusting that the right things will come when the time is right. Sometimes we think that if we just work hard enough or push ourselves enough, things will happen faster. But life doesn't always work on our timeline. There are seasons of waiting, seasons of preparation, and seasons of growth that may feel uncomfortable or uncertain. These seasons are not wasted. They are the foundation upon which your future will be built. Just like a seed needs time to grow beneath the soil before it can break through the surface and blossom, you too are undergoing a process of growth that takes time and patience. Trusting in the timing of your life means accepting that growth happens in its own time and that you don't need to rush the process. When we focus on the timing of our lives, it also teaches us to let go of the need for constant validation from others. It's easy to compare ourselves to the people around us and to wonder why their lives seem to be unfolding so smoothly while we're still in the waiting room. But when you trust that your timing is unique, King, you begin to release the pressure of comparison. You stop measuring your worth or your progress by someone else's standards, and instead you start honoring your own journey, your own path, and your own pace. Sometimes the reason things are not happening when we expect them is because we're not yet ready for what's ahead. We may think we are, but God, the universe, or whatever higher power you believe in knows exactly what we need and when we need it. Trusting in the timing of your life means trusting that there are lessons you still need to learn, things you still need to experience, and growth that still needs to happen before you can step into the next phase of your life. It's not that you're unworthy or that you're being overlooked. It's simply that the timing isn't right yet, and that's okay. In fact, this waiting period is an opportunity to prepare. It's a chance to work on yourself, to deepen your understanding of your desires, to refine your skills, and to strengthen your character. The more you embrace this waiting time, the more you'll realize that the things you're waiting for will be so much more meaningful and rewarding when they come. The process is as important as the end result, and when you trust the timing of your life, you open yourself up to receiving all that is meant for you in its perfect moment. Trusting in the timing also means learning to have faith that what is meant for you will find its way to you. So often we are obsessed with controlling outcomes and forcing things to happen. But life doesn't always work like that. There are times when we need to release our tight grip and let go of the need to control every aspect of our journey. This is not about being passive or waiting idly for things to come to you, but rather about understanding that your efforts are part of the process and that what is meant for you will not pass you by. In moments of doubt or frustration, remember that delays are not denials. Just because things are not happening in the way you expected or in the timeline you envisioned doesn't mean they won't happen at all. Trusting the timing of your life means accepting that some things are simply not meant for you right now. It might feel disappointing, even painful at times, but this is where faith comes in. Faith that what is meant for you will show up when it is meant to, and that you are being prepared for the right moment. And even more so, trusting in timing requires us to live fully in the present moment. Too often, we are so focused on what's next that we miss the beauty and opportunity of where we are right now. We are constantly looking ahead, wishing things would unfold faster, but in doing so, we overlook the lessons, the relationships, and the experiences that are meant for us in this very season. There is value in the now, even when it feels like you're not where you want to be. Life is not just about reaching destinations. It's about embracing the journey, appreciating the process, and trusting that the timing of your life is unfolding exactly as it should.